Hello everyone, this is Frox and welcome to my game Robust version 0.1. Robust is a strategy fighting game that I've been working on for the last 5 months in the Godot engine. Currently, the goal of the game is to stay alive as long as possible and to fend off robots. In order to do this, the player has some spells to help them. There are currently 3 different types of spells in the game: aura spells, burst spells, and card spells. Aura spells apply an effect to the player for 30 seconds upon activation. Burst spells, on the other hand, have a very short duration and typically act as weapons or mobility for the player. An example of a burst spell would be Wipeout. Wipeout deals 50 damage to all enemies upon activation. The spell has no actual duration, so it is a burst spell. Another burst spell that I would like to add is a dash spell. Or I guess I should say dash spells, since there will be multiple variations of the dash spell. Dash spells will be burst spells too, since they have a short duration and act as mobility for the player. I was thinking the first dash spell could cause the player to dash a very long distance, at the cost of using up a lot of mana. It would be useful in scenarios where a high damage enemy or a high damage horde of projectiles is coming after you. It'll cost your mana storage, but at least you won't die. Another dash spell variation I was thinking of making is an aggressive one. It won't cost much mana, and its damage would be high, but its distance would be short, and in order to deal damage you would have to ram into the enemy. This would cause you to take damage, potentially a lot depending on the enemy you're fighting. I expect it to be strong with defensive builds, or builds with lots of health regeneration. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now back to the third type of spell, card spells. Card spells can be activated on and off like a light switch. The first and only card spell currently in the game is Succulence. It costs 50 mana to activate, and upon activation it stores 30 mana until it is deactivated. When deactivated, you will regain the 30 mana you put into it. The best time to use Succulence, in my opinion, is early in the game. This is because early on it is easy to regain your lost mana. Activating the spell when you're safe and at your maximum mana capacity is a good time as well. This probably goes without saying, but the best times to deactivate Succulence is when your mana is low or when you want to do a spell combo. Let's move on to the different enemy types in Robust. There are currently 4 or 2 different types of enemies, depending on what your definition of enemy is. There's the Eyebot, the Mother Eyebot, the Baby Eyebot, and there's a drone. The Eyebot is just a basic enemy. It has 100 health on average, 300 speed, and is the most common enemy you'll find in Robust. Its slow speed and average amount of health make it an easy enemy to deal with. The Mother Eyebot, although from the same family, is completely different. It somehow manages to be even slower than the regular Eyebot with 250 speed on average, which is exactly 2 times slower than the regular player with no speed buffs. But it definitely makes up for this with its health, and with the enemies it spawns. The Mother Eyebot has 500 health on average, which is 5 times the health of your average Eyebot. A normal bullet deals 20 damage, so you need to hit it with 25 in order to kill. Additionally, Mother Eyebots spawn 6 babies every 20 seconds. Baby Eyebots are low in health, but significantly faster than the player. The average Eyebot has a health of 40, meaning it will take 2 bullets to kill it. The average baby also has a speed of 600, which is 20% faster than the player's base speed. Fighting 6 of these might not sound too bad, but having 3 Mother Eyebots in the game will cause 18 to spawn, which can be a lot to handle. This is why I tend to focus on killing Mother Eyebots as soon as they spawn, and why I often use up a lot of mana trying to kill them. Another good strategy is using Wipeout to kill the Baby Eyebots, which deals 50 damage to all enemies. This will kill about 75% of all iBots and will make the remaining iBots a one-shot. So it's very effective, but also costs a significant amount of mana to use. The final enemy is the drone. It's slightly faster than the player with an average speed of 515. It has a health of 160. The drone has a charge ability that it uses every 13 to 17 seconds. And it moves backwards for a second before charging at the player. It dashes far, often going off the player's screen. This is all the enemies in Robust so far. I'm not sure what to add next, so if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. It would be very helpful. I forgot to mention how using spells actually works in the game. In order to use a spell, the player has to press a key on their keyboard from 1 to 9. If, let's say, a spell is on the 7th slot of their inventory, the player would press the 7th key in order to activate it. There are also some hidden spells currently in the game. The small fireball/bullet projectile I can fire without using a mana is activated by my left click button. I most likely won't turn this into its own spell and slot, as having an attack that doesn't require any mana is quite nice. I also think it would be kind of weird to have 11 spell slots. The player also has a shotgun attack, which they activate via right click. It costs 5 mana. Since the spell has a mana cost, it acts like a burst spell. I want the player to have 10 spell slots soon. But the player's inventory will never go above 10. Eventually I want to turn this game into a bit of an adventure game as well, where the player has to search around for spells. I want the player to have to make tough choices in the game when it comes to which spells they want to keep and which spells they want to get rid of. I feel this will bring more strategy into the game, and that limited spell slots will force players to be creative and tactical. Finally, let me discuss the wave system in my game. It's pretty simple. Each wave, one additional random enemy will spawn. The waves are currently endless, although I will eventually add a way to beat the game. However, there is one special wave, and that is the siege. Sieges take place every 9 waves. During a siege, 25% more mobs will spawn, and 25% of those mobs will be drones, which is insanely high compared to the normal drone spawn chance. And that's about it for my game so far. If you have any suggestions for the game, I would love to hear it. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and have a nice day.